Okay, good morning, everyone. So today, Frederik Gerner will talk about how to navigate yourself and your company through crisis when times are uncertain. Frederik is one of the co-founders of Ampelmann and currently partner at FORWARD.one. When Ampelmann was founded in 2007, they found themselves in the middle of a global crisis, but they still managed to survive, and I think it's quite known that Ampelmann grew out into a leading offshore technology company. With this experience as former entrepreneur, Frederik will tell how you can prevent your company from standing still and still be visible in the market. Frederik, you can go ahead.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Ashley, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a good weekend and is ready to go and kick some ass this week again. I just have a short introduction to start off with. I'm Frederik. I'm currently based in Cape Town. Been living here now for about 2 years. I'm a happily married father of 3 children. Since the middle picture, there's a third one that has arrived. Generally, I love spending my time out in nature. So I love running, kiting, surfing, cycling. And that's also one of the great things about living here in Cape Town. That's a bit about me, a bit about my professional background. I studied at Delft University, did offshore engineering, started Ampelmann out of university with 4 other of my co-founders. We built that company and sold majority of the company in 2013 to private equity. Shortly after that, I moved to Singapore, where I've set up an office for Ampelmann to cater the Asia Pacific region. During that time, I also started getting involved and joined the supervisory board of the ocean cleanup, which I'm still involved with. In my last period in Singapore, I did a executive MBA at INSEAD, and after that, I actually decided to leave Ampelmann, moved here to South Africa, and whilst moving here, I started FORWARD.one together with 2 of my co-founders and 2 bankers, which I'm now actively involved in. We are a venture capital fund focused on high-tech hardware. So really looking for hardware technology companies based in the Netherlands. Next to that, I'm early days setting up a VC fund here in Cape Town, looking at the startup scene here, and I've done some angel investing in the last few years, getting involved in different types of businesses. So set on both sides of the table. What I wanted to talk to you about today, and I think for me, these are the 3 themes that are important for any startup or any business in the early days, and especially so when in crisis times or uncertain times. And these are your team, cash, and culture. And I'll take you through my presentation sort of along the line on what we went through at Ampelmann in the really beginning phase. For those who don't know, this is a Ampelmann system. This is actually our second system that we built, which we built for Jumbo Shipping for a project in the offshore wind. We managed to get this built by having the client pre-finance a large part of the business or a large part of the system, and the banks putting in money. As Ashley mentioned, we started the business around the global financial crisis, and in addition to that, the project we were involved on got delayed and delayed, meaning that we didn't get the revenues we were expecting, and we were getting squeezed pretty hard on our cash flow. And I think that really was our little moment of how are we going to make this? How are we going to get through these times? And I'll explain a bit about the 3 points I mentioned. So to start off with team, it's a bit of a cliche, but it is all about the team. And investors always say, it's better to invest in an A team with a B plan than in a B team with an A plan. And the thing with cliches is they're true. I do think it's all about the team, and at Ampelmann we spend a lot of time looking at who we were hiring, how we could improve ourselves, how we could make sure we got the best people in, to make sure we had an A team. And it was something we spent a lot of time on, in recruiting. And as you can imagine, we started as a bunch of engineers really knowing how to tackle the technical side, but obviously doing business is a people business. Any business is all around people. And I think in times of crisis, it really shows whether you have a team that's functioning, that understands each other, understands each other well. Being engineers, I remember we went and did one of these personality tests, one of the insights tests, which for us was really an eye-opener, that there was another dimension to people. People think different, react different, are made up different, make them tick differently. And we spent a lot of time using these type of tools, understanding each other better, understanding our team better, how we could operate better. And when you then get in a crisis mode, it means you operate better. There's no underlying challenges, issues. So it's something I think is key. So work on your team, keep working on your team, and make sure that your team is an A team. Cash. One of the things we always mentioned in the business, and are responsible for the finances in the business, is cash flow is more important than your mother. So that's the acronym on the top. Because cash is king in your business, and especially in a startup. Like every business, we had our valley of death that we had to go through. And I think from a financing perspective, we had the great support of a customer, and I think your customer is your best line of financing. And we managed to find a customer that was willing to pay a half year in advance to help us build a new system, which really pushed us through this valley for a significant amount. Secondly, it's your suppliers who we really treated as partners. And for us, we worked with some suppliers that's in openness, in a very fair playing field relationship, helped us get a lot of space in our cash runway in order to get a system finished, get it operational and paid for by a client, in order for them to help us grow, and for us to have these kind of partners that we're still working with at Ampelmann at the moment. So really looking at the different opportunities there. And I think one of the examples we had at this time where we were struggling to make ends meet is that we sat with the team, and we spent a lot of time with our team discussing our situation, very open, very clear on where we were, what cash measurements we'd taken, how much that would stretch. And one of the things we asked our staff and everyone who was working with us was whether they were willing to leave a bit of their salaries in the business, which we put on a loan account, and they got a nice interest rate on. And although it was only a small amount, regarding the cash savings that we needed to make to get through this phase, it created a tremendous support within the team. And I think the knock-on effect of the amount of additional savings and creativity it created was enormous. I think that's brings me to the next subject, which is culture. And one of the slogans I like here is "Culture Eats Strategy for Breakfast" from Peter Drucker, which I fully agree with. And I think as entrepreneurs, as leaders in your organization, you're the one who sets the culture in the business. You're the one that determines how people will behave in your business, because you're a leader, and every choice you make on what you approve of, what you disapprove of, how you react, how you communicate, what you support, determines the culture in your business. And when we were in this phase of really looking at how can we make ourselves get through this valley of death, we in the team decided that we were all going to grow our beards and mustaches until the project got started, or next project would come in. We had a bit of a double agenda because one of our co-founders was getting married, and we wanted to have a mustache on his wedding day. But I'll show you some of the pictures of the beauties we managed to become. This was me on the left on the day the project started again, with a beautiful offshore mustache, but also the rest of the team proudly in the FC Ampelmann wearing their stashes. And I mean, it's a bit of a joke, but the energy it gave, and the alignment and the enthusiasm for people just to do that extra step and make the extra bit happen was enormous. So I think culture is something that, as leaders and entrepreneurs, is something you need to be thinking about and working on continuously. Last but not least, I took an old picture I used to share on presentations I did with Ampelmann, which you all know Richard Branson, and this is Richard Branson kiting in front of his island, Necker Island, with a naked model on his back. And I always enjoyed showing this because it's ridiculous, but to me it shows that anything is possible. If you want to go kiting in front of your own private island with a naked model on your back, it's possible. And what I said to everyone within Ampelmann was always, the only limitation is yourself. And push yourself. You can make more possible than you think, and especially in times of crisis, as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to be creative, be lean, be agile, be faster, and come out kicking. So I want to thank you all for this early morning presentation, and happy to hear whether there's any questions.
If there are any questions, they can be asked through the chat or the Q&A. No questions so far. Okay, well, I think we can...
It's Monday morning.
Sorry?
It's Monday morning. Everybody's still
Monday
waking.
Morning. Oh yes, we have one question. How do you see this Corona period crisis different from that of 2018?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different, right? 2018 was a financial crisis. This is a pandemic. I think there's there has not been a financial collapse, although we are going into a recession. So the mechanics are completely different. I think from an entrepreneurial perspective, I see a lot of the same. I see big companies really moving inwards, trying to figure out how they save themselves. Whereas as a small company, you can do that quickly and then start looking out again, looking at the market, at opportunities, change your business model, change the way you support your clients. So I see, the mechanics are different, but the way you can operate as a startup are pretty much the same.
Okay. How did you deal with large or corporate customers as a young company?
Let me just stop sharing. Hope everybody still sees me. How we deal with large customers. Well, we mainly dealt with large customers. So our customers were Siemens, big offshore companies, big oil and gas companies, Shell, BP. So we spend a lot of time dealing with them, and it's interesting. You need to find the person within such an organization that has the right incentive. So that is looking for a certain cost reduction that you can achieve, or is looking for something that he can do different in order to make his business still go ahead. I think, very generally speaking, there's a lot of people in big corporates that are risk averse. So you got to find your fan or supporter that's willing to stick his neck out and make it work. And for us, we provided an innovation that could really achieve cost reductions. And we found 1 or 2 people that saw that, understood that, and were willing to take that risk in uncertain times.
Okay. Well, I think we can wrap it up. I think if people have any questions left, they can contact us or they can contact you to see to get a conversation further on. But thank you, Frederik, for sharing your experience doing this presentation on Monday morning.
Yep.
And yeah, all the best for you for the upcoming months ahead.
Thanks, Ashley, for your time, and good luck, everyone, and happy to follow on the discussions. Stay safe.